Hey guys, John Wooten here. Doing some really fun research this morning, getting some work done. It's been awesome. And I was listening to this course, and there was this one concept that came from Kevin Trudeau, if I don't fall over in this chair, that I thought was really, really powerful. And I wanted to share it with you real quick this morning. And it's the idea of vibration of thought and using that vibration to fundamentally shift the way that you attract, wealth, success, whatever you desire in life, based on this idea that you are transmitting signals out into the universe and receiving signals from the universe. So what Kevin's talking about is something I go into a little bit more in the course I made of Think and Grow Rich, but it's this idea that when you think something, it sends out a vibration into the world around you. So if I keep thinking, I really want, right now, right, I'm doing a bunch of email follow-up sequences for some of my companies, right? So if I'm putting out in the universe, I want these emails to generate new clients and better serve the existing clients I have and get them exactly what they want. And I want it to have, X much revenue come from these emails, blah, 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 in the next 6 months, stuff like that. That's going to send out a signal into the universe for it to receive and then give back to me, right? So it's going to say, look, yeah, you know what? We'll give it back to you. Sounds cool. You got it. Let's make it happen. And it's this idea that it's working together, right? Versus me saying, if I say I'm going to go trip and fall down, some stairs or something, that's a negative signal sending out negative vibes into the world. It's going to lead to negativity. So you want to send out obviously positive thoughts, positive insights, positive goals, not falling over. And then once you do that, what's really interesting is instead of negative things happening, you manifest this positivity in your life by sending out the right signals and receiving the corresponding correct signals. So there's so many case studies and examples. One that I go through in the course, and it's actually in Think Grow Rich, is this idea that these guys had this magic card trick, and they were trying to figure out if people could be psychic or be telepathically connected to things. And what they did is they would have someone look at the card, and the subject would try to figure out, what kind of card it was. And what they found was there was a very, very small subset of people that were really well connected with their internals. They were connected with their mind. They were connected with everything they were doing so that they were in sync with the world around them. So there was a very small subset of people that were able to take their mind and turn it into a receiver that could take in all the information being transmitted across the ether around them. And so because of that, what they did was this small subset of people, it was about 2% of people that were in the test, they had absolutely surreal results. It was a 1 in a million chance that they were able to guess what they were doing, and they were able to consistently figure out what the cards were based just on their mind. And what was interesting is as they started to move further away from the cards, they went 10 feet away from the cards, 50 feet away from the cards, a mile away from the cards, they had the same results as long as they focused their mind on figuring out what the card was as somebody else read it to them or read it to themselves, and then they looked at the card and they said, what's the card? And what we found was that the person looking at the card mentally transmitted signals out into the universe of, hey, this is the card. And because of that, these mental signals were received through the ether in these high vibration minds, these minds of these very small subset of people that had an increased state in their mind of taking in this information. And so because of that, they were able to figure out to a very high degree of accuracy what the cards were, which was super powerful. So they took that and they worked. So it worked when they were close, it worked when they were far away. As long as somebody looked at it and mentally visualized it, these people could take these vibrations at any distance, take them into their mind, manifest them into their success, and then they would guess what the card was. So what Kevin's looking at is a very similar concept with the DNA of you, right? So you take saliva, blood, spit, something like that, and you're looking at the DNA from that in your body and then the DNA sample. And this leverages a little bit of a more complex topic. It's based on this idea that your emotions carry certain vibrational associations, right? So for instance, negative thoughts, anger, jealousy, spite, rage, they're actually poisonous. Like thinking about them is a legitimate poison. They've taken these experiments, right, where they'll take your DNA And an angry person's spit, right, or DNA, has a very minimal amount of toxic poison, and they give it to lab mice, and these lab mice actually die because of the poison that comes from negative emotions, because these negative emotions, they manifest terrible, terrible insights and thoughts into your mind, into your body. And because of that, literally negative thinking is poisonous. So positive thinking, likewise, increases your vibrations, increases your state, increases your success. And because of that, it manifests that greater level of personal growth with what you're doing. So you have a massive, massive impact with what you're doing. And you also increase your personal health, your sense of well-being, based exclusively on your internal emotions. So with this experiment, they had a sample outside of the body and a sample, obviously inside the body. They were measuring his body, and they would look at how the subject's thoughts impacted their DNA. So they would think happy thoughts, and their DNA would take in those vibrations, and elevated state would increase, and it would fundamentally shift the patterns it exhibited. And what was really interesting is the DNA from the actual subject had the same pattern as the DNA outside of their body when they thought these thoughts. So they'd think a positive thought, they would have a shift in their DNA internally and in the sample outside of their body. So they were connected through these vibrations in the ether between themselves and between their sample. And this happened, positive emotions, negative emotions. Obviously, you want to be focusing on positive emotions. But here's the really interesting part. Just like the people that were looking at cards were able to do what they were doing from miles and miles away or 10 feet away, this exact same phenomenon happened with this DNA sample experiment. So they would take the DNA and they would move it out of the room. They would move it into another building. They would put a lead block in between the person and their DNA. And what was interesting is no matter how far away they got, up to 10 miles, the thoughts in that person's head still transmitted themselves through the ether. They still went out there. Remember, everything you're thinking, you're transmitting, you're sending it out. And if you have a high enough energy, you're also receiving in information, receiving in thoughts, receiving in these transmissions from other people through the ether, right? So you would send it, the subjects would send out their thoughts, their images, their emotions, and it would affect this DNA that was miles and miles away, separated by lead blocks. Didn't matter. It still had the same effect on them as it had on the sample that was far, far, far away, because their energy waves transmit through the ether. They transmit across the mediums to have a physical impact miles and miles away on this subject sample of DNA, because obviously the DNA has a high vibration state, so it's able to receive this energy much more easily than, say, just someone, and specifically someone with a low energy state. You want to increase your energy state. It's going to allow you to capture higher level thoughts across all aspects of what you're doing. A very powerful concept right there. It's this idea that you can manifest higher levels of success based solely on your ability to increase your energy state and connect with these powerful, powerful thoughts that are coming from yourselves and from others across the world. So the important thing to learn from this experiment, and the big, 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 big takeaway from it, is you want to make sure that you have positive thoughts, positive emotions, because they have a physical impact on you, and they also have an impact on the entire world around you. So if you're super, super pumped, super happy, you're going to have an impact on your own bodily state, and you're also going to have a massive, massive impact on the people around you, right? So if you're increasing the positivity of your group environment, you're going to be able to better expand your growth, better develop yourself, better succeed, because you understand at a very, very fundamental level the exact positive emotions that are going to lead to the creation of the plans to get to your goals, that are going to lead to a success in your life that all stems from having a desire, a passion, a path to your success, because you're sending out the right emotions, right? It has a physical impact with everything you're doing, based on this idea that the mental world you live in transmits into its physical equivalent, either through the auto-fulfillment of goals and aspirations, or through very simple process here of transmitting mental images instantly through the ether. This idea that you can send out information, you can send out vibrations, send out brainwaves. They're going to have an immediate impact on yourself and the people around you and the ideas that you generate. Because remember, you're connecting with the subconscious, and the subconscious is the most powerful, powerful thing, because it's the receiving station for all of these signals. And the instant that you're able to turn your transmitter and receiver on and increase the vibration levels so that you can connect with the environment around you, the physical environment, the thought environment, and just the emotional environment of energy waves around you, you're going to be able to instantly create better ideas, plans, formulas, forms of action to get to the future growth that you want, the development that you need. Everything stems from this internal ability to increase those vibrations, increase that energy, and therefore leverage the physical growth and aspirations you desire by thinking about them in your mind and then turning them into a reality through the power of the subconscious. So hey, really awesome stuff, guys. This is something I talk a whole lot more about in my course on Think Grow Rich. It's just some really powerful content. If you're interested in that, I'll link some stuff below. It's also for clients of 9 to noon is really where that works out. So hey, if you're interested in that, go ahead, check it out. Grab yourself some awesome stuff. And yeah, hope you guys got a ton of value from this. Go out there, crush it, have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.